Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare. Jaya Radha Govinda, Radha Govinda Shri Radhe. Jaya Radha Giri Govardhandari, Radha Giri Govardhandari Shri Radhe. Jaya Gauranitai, 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 Jaya Gauranitai. Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Srila Prabhupada. श्री श्री राधा गोविंद जी की, श्री श्री गौरनिताय की, श्रील प्रभुपाद की, ग्रंथराज श्रीमद् भागवतम की जय। विष्णुपाद परमहंस परिचार्य स्तोत्र सत श्री श्रीमद् डिवाइन ग्रेस एसी भक्तिवेदांत स्वामी महाराज जगद्गुरु श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय। ग्रंथराज श्रीमद् भागवतम की जय। गौर भक्त वृंद की जय। जयनिताय गौर प्रेमानंदे। All glory to assembled devotees. All glory to assembled devotees. All glory to assembled devotees. All glory to Shri Guru and Shri Gauranga Mahaprabhu. All glory to Lotus of Srila Prabhupada. Namo Vishmadeva Krishna Vastai Putre Shmati Nitya Samati Namo Vishmadeva Krishna Vastai Putre. So thank you very much for coming for this Sunday morning glorification of Srīmad Bhāgavatam. When we say all glories to the assembled devotees, then actually it means all glories, because we have taken the effort to come here and in this cold weather, to come here and glorify Srīmad Bhāgavatam. His Holiness Radhanath Maharaj says very nicely, when it says, when you chant all glories to assembled devotees, that means all glories to assembled devotees except myself, because we want to remain humble as a blade of grass. So we will begin with recitation of chapter 1, canto 1, the creation, chapter 9, passing day of Bhīṣmadeva in presence of Lord Krishna, and we'll start with verse number, what verse number are we doing today? 20?
20, I think.
20. So we'll start at least reciting the verses, the first 5 verses from number 12. So please repeat after me. Aho kashtam aho nyayam यद्यूयं धर्मनन्दनः जीवितुं नार्हत क्लिष्टं विप्रधर्माच्युताश्रयः विप्रधर्माच्युताश्रयः संस्थिते तीर्थे पाण्डव पृथा बाल प्रजावधूः युष्मात् कृते बहुन् क्लेशान् प्राप्त तोकावतत्मुः सर्वं कालकृतं मन्ये भवतां च यद् अप्रियम् सफलो यद्वशे लोको वायोरिव गणावलिः यत्र धर्मसुतो राजा गदापाणिर्वृकोदरः कृष्णो स्त्रीगाण्डिवं चापं सुहृत् कृष्णस्ततो विपत् सुहृत् कृष्ण ततो विपत् नहि यस्य कर्हिचित् राजन् पुमान् भेद विधित्सिताम् यद् जिज्ञासया युक्ता मुह्यन्ति कवयोऽपि मुह्यन्ति कवयोऽपि तस्मादिदं दैवतन्त्रम् व्यवस्य भरतर्षभ तस्यानो विहितो नाथ नाथ पाहि प्रजा प्रभो एष वै भगवान् साक्षात् आद्यो नारायणः पुमान् मोहयन् मायया लोकम् गूढश्चरति वृष्णिषु गूढश्चरति विष्णुषु अस्यानुभावं भगवान् वेद गुह्यतमं शिवः देवर्षिर्नारद साक्षात् भगवान् कपिलो नृपः. So let's start with verse number 20 today. Yam manyase matuleyam priyam mitram suhrittamam akaro sachivam dautam sahridad athasarathim. Yam manyase matuleyam priyam mitram suhrittamam akaro sachivam dutam sahridad athasarathim. Yam manyase matuleyam priyam mitram suhrittamam akaro sachivam dutam sahridad athasarathim.
Yammanyase matuleyam priyam mitram suhrittamam akaro sachivam dutam sauhridat athasarathim. Yammanyase
Yes, please.
मन्यसे मातुलेवम्
Kim manyase matuleyam
सहृदतं सहुदतं
priyam mitram surittamam
अकरो सचीवं दूते
akaro sachivam dutam
हृदयाय
savradadatha sarathim yam manyase matuleyam priyam mitram suhrittamam akaro sachivam dutam savradadatha atha sarathim yam manyase matuleyam priyam mitram suhrittamam akaroha sachivam dutam sahradatha sarathim. So word to word translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Jagadguru Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Yam, the person, manyase, you think, matuleyam, maternal cousin, priyam, very dear, mitram, friend, surittamam, ardent well-wisher, akaroha, executed, sachivam, counsel, dutam, messenger, sahradat, by goodwill, atha, thereupon, sarathim, charioteer. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki jai. O King, that personality whom out of ignorance only you thought to be your maternal cousin, your very dear friend, well-wisher, counselor, messenger, benefactor, etc., is that very personality of Godhead, Shri Krishna. Purport. Lord Shri Krishna, although acting as the cousin, brother, friend, well-wisher, counselor, messenger, benefactor, etc. of the Pandavas, was still the supreme personality of Godhead. Out of His causeless mercy and favor upon His unalloyed devotees, He performs all kinds of service. But that does not mean that He has changed His position as the absolute person. To think of Him as an ordinary man is the grossest type of ignorance. So here we see Krishna has taken Yudhishthira Maharaj and all the Pandavas and sages to Bhīṣmadeva. Bhāgavatam, of course, describes this section. This is actually a very, very special section. And every time you hear a class given by someone, they'll say this is a very special section. This is a very special section. That's why it makes Bhāgavatam, in an entire Bhāgavatam, very, very special. Here we can see, yesterday Sanatana Prabhu spoke about the purpose, that what purpose we have. So what is the purpose of Bhīṣmadeva? What is the purpose of this Leela happening? So the purpose here we can write down very simply, Ante Narayana Smriti. That at the end of the life, we want to remember Krishna. Ante Narayana Smriti. Bhīṣmadeva, and similarly like Prabhupada, he was, we can see the passing away of both these personalities, as we discussed a couple of weeks ago, was very similar. They both, were, going through, of course, intense pain, but the consciousness was very, very clear. And recently also, in recent history, we see His Holiness Kadam Kanand Maharaj. When he left his body, he was completely, the consciousness was very clear. So here, Bhīṣmadeva is continuing to praise Lord Shri Krishna. And this series of verses, as we see, is continuing to describe Krishna. And Bhāgavatam is full of description of the qualities of Krishna. So you can see Krishna, just imagine this. He is his maternal uncle, very dear friend. Now, two words are described here to describe our friendship. Mitram and Surittamam. So as we know, friendship, we have discussed this before, are of different kinds. Right? The first one is Mitra. So Mitra here, Prabhupada translates, of course, as friend. So we can know many people who can be our friends. But then closer to Mitra is what we call Bandhu. Bandhu means someone who is in our inner circle. Right? Someone who is in the inner circle. We all have many people we know, especially in these days, Facebook friends. But then there are some people who are quite close to us. So they are bandhus. But then again the next circle within that is the Sakha. Like Krishna has all the Sakhas. When my spiritual master gave my name, Sakhi Rai Das, I had no idea what he meant. First I thought Sakhi means it's a girl's name. Like Sakhi is generally a girl's name. But then he said Sakhi Rai Das, that means the king of the Gopas and the Gopis. That's Krishna. So Sakha, then you have Suhrit. Suhrit means someone who is very close to your heart and someone who is the well-wisher. Krishna says in the 5th chapter at the end, I am the well-wisher, I am the benefactor. Bhoktaram yagitapasam sarvaloka maheshwaram. What does it say? Bhoktaram yagitapasam sarvaloka maheshwaram. Suridam sarvabhutanam gyatva mam shantim richati. Suridam. Suridam means, Ridha means heart. Right? Hridaya. So here also is described as Surid. Surid means someone who is very close to our heart. So Krishna is telling Yudhishthira Maharaj, yes, he is your maternal cousin. He is your very dear friend, Surid. He is your well-wisher. He is your counselor. Counselor means Sachivam. As we know, Sachiv is a normally used word for secretary, right, in the government department. But here it said counselor. Sachiv is a counselor. Then Dutam. Dutam means is a messenger. Krishna played all these parts in the lives of Yudhishthira Maharaj and the Pandavas. But then says, don't get fooled by that. Don't get fooled by that. He is the same personality of Godhead, the Supreme Person, Lord Shri Krishna. In Gopi Geet, the gopis are singing and they're saying, how does it go? When he says, describe as, I just remembered it and I just went, Akhila Dehi Nama Vishnu, Nakhalu Gopika Nandano Bhavan Akhila Dehi Nama Antaratmadre Vikhana Sarthito Vishwaguptaye Sakaudevan Satpatam Kule. So Krishna, even though we know that yes, you are Gopika's son, you are Yashoda Ma's son. We know you as Krishna. You have taken birth in the kul of Satpatas. Krishna, one of the names is Satpatam. He's born in the dynasty of Satpatas. Satpata also means saintly people. And but again they say, who are you, Krishna? Akhil Dehi Nam Antaratma Drik. That means we see and you also see that you are the Antaratma, the super soul in the heart of every living entity. So this can, we should meditate upon this factor, this feature of Krishna, that actually, yes, Krishna, even though you are here right now in the form of picture, or in the form of deities, or in the form of these pictures, but you are the super soul in everyone's heart. And here Bhīṣmadeva is remembering Krishna and he's telling Yudhishthira Maharaj, even though Krishna has played the part of all these personalities, but ultimately you are very fortunate to have Krishna in your life. Who's that Krishna? The Supreme Personality of Godhead. And Prabhupada says here that, but Krishna comes, when he comes in his original, inexhaustible form. Avajananti mam mudha, Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, that when I come, in this human form, the Mudhas, they deride me. And these are the fools, because they don't know that I come in my original and inexhaustible form. Wherever Krishna is, yesterday we were speaking about expansions and incarnations in a different conversation. So Krishna comes, but he manifests only what is required. So here also we can see that, of course, from time to time, the Pandavas knew that Krishna is the Supreme Person. And here Bhīṣmadeva is describing that. I've said this before, but I want to repeat this. One time I was in Vrindavan hearing a class given by His Grace, Madhavananda Prabhu. He's a wonderful disciple of His Holiness Gaur Govind Maharaj. And he is the editor of a very nice publication, Gopalju Publications. If you Google Gopalju and subscribe to that, every Ekadashi, you'll get a very nice newsletter. He sends every Ekadashi. Very nice. Two or 4 page newsletter. So he was saying that, we are all here, and suppose Krishna walks through that door. What are we going to do? Sorry?
Run behind.
Run behind, faint, okay. What do you think?
Bow in reverence.
Sorry?
Bow in reverence.
Bow in reverence, okay. What do you think? Mesmerized, okay. Confused, okay. He said, he gave a very nice answer. He said, we are at that level that we will not even know how to deal with Krishna. We saw in Brahma Vimohan Leela, even Brahma did not know how to deal with Krishna. Because, he's so ecstatic, he falls down, pays obeisances, he starts crying, and then, he forgets to get up. And then when he's getting up, he's again forgetting to pay his obeisances. And that is Brahma. Imagine, us. So he said that whenever you see Krishna, you always put your spiritual master in front of you. Because they know how to, interact with Krishna. Just by following them. So in our life, we have to follow Guru. We have to follow, the spiritual master, Srila Prabhupada, his instructions. As we saw, Bhīṣmadeva first verse, he says we have to take shelter of 3 personalities. Who are those?
Religion.
Krishna.
Yes. So, Dharma, Vipra, Achyuta. These 3 personalities will take shelter. So when we, sometimes we are also eager to serve. But here you see the parampara is there. So whenever we offer arti, it is through the Guru and the parampara. We never offer straight. We are not qualified. So we have to understand that. So here, Bhīṣmadeva is explaining that this is the same personality, Krishna. Any questions or comments? No? So we move on to the next verse. Verse number 21. Sarvatmanah samadrisho hi advayasya ahankriteh tatkritam mati vaishamyam nirvadasyasya na kvachit sarvatmanah samadrisho hi advayas ahankara kriteh tatkritam mati vaishamyam nirvadyasya na kvachit. Synonym: Sarva Atmanaha, of one who is present in everyone's heart. Samadrishaha, of one who is equally kind to one and all. He certainly. Advayasya, of the absolute. Anahan kritehe, free from all material identity of false ego. Tat Kritam, everything done by him. Mati, consciousness. Vaishamyam, differentiation. Nirvadyasya, freed from all attachment. Na, never. Kvachit, at any stage. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Being the absolute personality of Godhead, He is present in everyone's heart. He is equally kind to everyone and is free from the false ego of differentiation. Therefore, whatever He does is free from material inebriety. He is equibalanced. Because He is absolute, there is nothing different from Him. He is Kaivalya. There is nothing except Him. Everything and everyone is the manifestation of His energy, and thus He is present everywhere by His energy, being non-different from it. The sun is identified with every inch of the sun rays and every molecular particle of the rays. Similarly, the Lord is distributed by His different energies. He is Paramatma, or the Super Soul, present in everyone as the supreme guidance. As a supreme guidance, and therefore He is already the chariot driver and counsel of all living beings. When He therefore exhibits Himself as the chariot driver of Arjuna, there is no change in His exalted position. It is the power of devotional service only that demonstrates Him as the chariot driver or the messenger. Since He has nothing to do with the material conception of life, because He is absolute spiritual identity, there is for Him no superior or inferior action. Being the absolute personality of Godhead, He has no false ego, and so He does not identify Himself with anything different from Him. The material conception of ego is equibalanced in Him. He does not feel, therefore, inferior by becoming the chariot driver of His pure devotee. It is the glory of the pure devotee that only he can bring about service from the affectionate Lord. Such a nice purport. This is a verse where the main theme is that Krishna is absolute and He is same to everyone. Yeah. What does the verse say? Ye thamam prapadyante tam sathevya bhajamyaham, right? So Krishna says, as one surrenders unto me, I reward them accordingly. Now that anyone does. If you go to supermarket and you give them $50, they'll give you $50 worth of goods. No, there's a difference here. Krishna says here that He's equally kind to everyone. Equally kind to everyone. And we can see that in our lives also, we have to understand how we can see Krishna's kindness everywhere. So Prabhupada actually, gives a lot of explanations, and we can either, unpack this, or we can, see. We can actually do both. Let's try that. So first of all, Krishna Prabhupada says, because He's absolute, there is nothing different from Him. What does that mean? What does that mean? Because He's absolute, there is nothing different from Him. That means tomorrow we can start worshipping this chair. This chair is Krishna, so let's start worshipping Krishna. Yes, no, He's supreme, but here Prabhupada says there's nothing different from Him. That's why, many times when you speak to people, they'll say, Prabhu, I see Krishna everywhere, I don't have to come to the temple. The idea is that when we are purified by our process of sadhana, Prabhupada uses this phrase very much, gradually and proportionately. So we have to understand that when we practice sadhana, gradually and proportionately, He will reveal Himself. And when He says, when He reveals Himself, we can understand, actually, yes, Krishna is acting in my life, and I can, somehow feel the presence of Krishna from time to time, and time will come every moment. Now when we speak of the chair, we can understand that the functionality of it being stable and someone being able to sit on that is coming from Krishna. The functionality of this mic, that it is broadcasting, is coming from Krishna. So whatever we do, whatever situation we are in, and here we see Bhīṣmadeva is going through happy times or bad times.
Happy time.
Okay, tell me how. If you got arrows pierced all over your body, there's not 1 inch of space left. How can that be happy times?
He is going to pass away and go to Sarga.
He's going to pass away. Okay, so if we are in presence of someone and someone is passing away, are we happy? We have to meditate on these aspects. And that's why sadhana is very important. Prabhupada used to give an example that, a mango or any fruit, when it's attached to the tree, it is going to get ripened automatically. And similarly, when we are attached to the association of devotees, even when we don't do anything, just by being attached to the devotees, even by being present, in the association of devotees, even though if there are other engagements, but if we can somehow come to the association of devotees, what happens is the process is working, the purification is happening, and then mango gets ripened, and then for us, our consciousness becomes clearer, and we can see the presence of Krishna everywhere. So Prabhupada doesn't say, there's nothing different from him. That means, we can start worshipping anything. No. We will be able to see Krishna's presence in every situation. Here we see Bhīṣmadeva. Now, Bhīṣmadeva also had a purpose in life. Yesterday we were speaking about purpose. So what was his purpose? We said, Ante Narayana Smriti. And for us also the same thing applies. Now you might think I'm not Bhīṣmadeva. But can we now understand that yes, we can give an example where a Sherpa, when Sherpa is climbing up the mountain, where is his focus? Where is his focus?
The next step.
In the process, but ultimately.
Yes. So ultimately the focus is on the peak. So he knows this is the peak I have to reach. But does it mean that he is not aware of the obstacles, the troughs and the peaks and the the valleys and the stones and the boulders? No. He's aware of all these obstacles. So for us in life, Bhīṣmadeva, you can see from his life, he went through so many trials and tribulations. So these are the obstacles which a Sherpa is going through. But at the end of the day, what he wants is to focus on Krishna. And what does Krishna do? Here, what does Prabhupada say? It is the glory of the pure devotee that only he can bring about service from the affectionate Lord. Now, did Krishna say that you fought against me? You shot arrows at me. And how many arrows? Not 1, 2, just like volley of arrows. But no, this is the understanding we have to have. That Bhīṣmadeva is such an amazing devotee that Krishna not only comes himself, but he brings the entire entourage with him. So when we are going through life, when we are going through these trials and tribulations, yes, the challenges we will face, like a Sherpa, the obstacles will come, the boulders will come, the rough peaks and troughs and valleys will come. But at the same time, our focus should be Ante Narayana Smriti. And now again, how can this happen? By being attached to the devotees, by practicing our sadhana bhakti. It is very important. Prabhupada has given us a very simple formula. We chant Hare Krishna, we take prasadam, we associate devotees. Sometimes we actually misunderstand this, and then what happens? Either yesterday only I was just remarking to Viraj Krishna Prabhu. So this is off the recording, but anyway. I was saying the Matajis are dancing so excitedly, and the Prabhus, I won't say that. And then I said, like every week I come here, I just make a point to make as many people dance as possible. We have to be excited, because if the excitement is not there, afterwards the material nature, Kali Yuga, is going to work on us. It's definitely working on us every minute. And that's why when we are, going against the current of bhakti, I heard a very nice analogy some time back, a long time back. We are in family life, most of us are in family life, and there are other things also to do. The material nature is taking its toll all the time. You've got work, by the time you finish work, you're exhausted. The weather is not helping. So many challenges are there. Prabhupada calls this as struggle for material existence. Struggle for material existence. Some of us are just even now trying to remain awake. Just that. Can I remain awake? So when we are going through the struggle for material existence, we are trying to cross a river swimming, and the current is very fast. So if you just try to go from one end to the other, like straight, you will definitely be, taken by the current downstream, right? So intelligently, what we should do, this intelligence we have to use very carefully. Intelligently, we should slightly flow with the current, and then go on the other side, and then walk to the destination. So for us, we have got so many swadharmas, the duty of body, as Krishna described in the 3rd chapter. So many duties we have to do. But then when we understand that Sanatana Dharma also has to be followed, then how can we integrate both of them? Every morning, most people when get up, they are morose. In the cold, we have to get up, But for us, we get up, there's a purpose here. We have to get ready, do puja, come to Bhāgavatam class, chant some rounds, so many things to do. So similarly, when we get up, and sync all these activities into Krishna consciousness, one thing we always say, that introspection has to be done every Ekadashi. Ekadashis are there for introspection. As to how can I improve from here, how can I increase my devotional service from here. In the beginning, Rupa Goswami gives you 64 items of bhakti, and there are 5 main items as we know. So in the beginning, our life will be mixture of, Swadharma and Sanatana Dharma. But slowly we have to introspect, speak to devotees, get another association, get some guidance, and come to a stage where our life is full of devotional service. Now again, when you are talking about life is full of devotional service, these are the rest 59 items. And then a stage is to come, like Bhīṣmadeva, when our life is full of just those 5 items. Chanting of the holy name, deity worship, studying Bhāgavatam, association of devotees, and Mathuravas, staying in the Dham. And if we can't stay in the Dham physically, we can stay in consciousness by doing these things. So this is what Bhīṣmadeva is showing us, that even though while being in such a painful situation, we can still be Krishna conscious if we have practiced. Now, even in our practice, there are so many features for us to think about. Prabhupada says here, he is Kaivalya, there is nothing except himself. Everything and everyone is the manifestation of his energy. So when we go through different positions, when we go through different people, when we go through different situations, we should understand that yes, how can I involve Krishna in my life? We have students here. So in student life, the life is very different. Then we start, come to a stage where we have to decide our career. Then the life is different. Then we start our career. The life is different. Then probably we get married, whatever. Life is different. Then we have children. Life is different. In all these situations, how can we see that I can remain Krishna conscious? We have devotees in our community where young children are born, and then they find it difficult to chant their rounds, normal rounds. They've been chanting 16 rounds before, and now suddenly baby has come, an additional Vaishnava has come in their lives, and then things become difficult. It's not easy, Or when you are going through old age, things are difficult. But if we have somehow practiced, then it's not more, not more so much of like exactly you have to follow rules and regulations. If you don't follow, you are fallen. No. Krishna is not a sadistic taskmaster. He's a very compassionate. Here you can see that Bhīṣmadeva, even though he fought on the other side, he fought on the wrong side, but still Krishna is affectionate. And Bhīṣmadeva also, he's in this situation it's described that, you can imagine, here we have a very condensed version of what's happened. In Bhāgavatam it gives you the essence of everything. But actually this conversation between Yudhishthir and Bhīṣmadeva went for 56 days, as we hear. From 56 days. So they will come, Bhīṣmadeva will speak, then they'll go. Now, Bhīṣmadeva is lying on bed of arrows. So what does he do first before he starts speaking to Yudhishthir Maharaj? He actually glorifies Krishna and takes his permission. When Krishna asks him to, instruct Yudhishthir Maharaj, he just doesn't go and straight starts giving instructions. Kashtam, nyayam, no. He actually speaks to Krishna and says, Krishna, my consciousness is very dull now. I am in very much pain. I'm just about to leave. But only with your mercy, and whatever I'm going to speak is actually you are speaking. It's not that I'm speaking. And then when Krishna smiles at him, and Mahabharata describes that both Yudhishthir Maharaj and Krishna, they are having a soft cloth in their hand and they are wiping away Bhīṣmadeva's tears. Bhīṣmadeva is crying not because he is leaving, but because of the affection for the Pandavas and for the Lord Krishna, the devotion for Krishna. And he is crying, and both Yudhishthir and Krishna, with a soft cloth, they are wiping away his tears. So these emotions, we can see that they are happening, and Bhīṣmadeva is describing these qualities of Krishna, that he is present in everyone's heart, he is free from the false ego of differentiation. For him, whether being a charioteer, or a messenger, or a suhrid, or a friend, it doesn't matter. For us, it matters. These are the false egos, as we see in the case of Bharat Maharaj, instructing King Rahugana. He says, you think you are a king and I am a palanquin carrier? No. He explains that we are both spirit souls, servant of the Lord. So when Krishna, he himself comes, we understand in this case that his position doesn't change at all. Prabhupada says here, when he therefore exhibits himself as chariot driver of Arjun, there is no change in his exalted position. So two main points are described here, is that Krishna is absolute, and in whatever form and situation he comes in his original form. Yeah? Any question or comments?
Prabhu, my reflection this morning was when I was just coming to that we are so fortunate here that we are actually discussing and trying to understand and understanding that Shri Krishna is the original form. So I felt that, from my reflection, I think I'm so fortunate that I'm learning Krishna and understanding he is original, and he's the absolute, as he said, absolute. And I feel I'm so privileged in this sense that I'm here learning about Krishna and trying to understand him. That's wonderful. We are all learning about him being the original. There's no other than he is the original source of everything. It's amazing that we have that. We're starting to learn about that. That's wonderful.
Yes, in the Gopi Geet, the gopis, they are very close to Krishna. They know Krishna, and the Gopi Geet is very interesting. It's description of Krishna, and Bhakti Janu Maharaj, he says very nicely that every verse is actually full of cry of separation for Krishna. Some of the verses you might not find, they're just descriptions of Krishna. But every verse they say, because they are, they want Krishna so much, that every verse is the cry for separation of Krishna. Of course, the famous verse which many devotees sing before we start speaking about Krishna, Tava Kathamritam Tapta Jivanam Kavi Biriditam Kalmashapaham Shravana Mangalam Srīmad Bhuvi Grinantite Bhurita Jana. So it is described that the nectar of your words and the descriptions of your activities are the life and soul of those suffering in this material world. So how many of us here are actually suffering? Honestly raise your hand or not raise your hand, but be honest. Okay, Chandrasekhar Prabhu's got 2 hands raised. Okay. Actually, we understand that yes, by coming to Krishna consciousness we understand that. Otherwise, we were covered by the 2 potencies of the Maya Devi. One was that it covers and then kicks, covers and kicks again, covers and kicks again. And I was speaking to Rajalakshmi a few days ago, and we were talking about a friend of ours. They're going through some very difficult times, just completely brought upon themselves by themselves. It's actually not required at all. But because of the wrong, the misdirected emotions, they're just going through those times. And you can see they're struggling and suffering so much, but if you ask them how they are, they're just very happy. Their social media posts are like, smiling faces and crying hearts. But the crying hearts, no one sees that. So here, the gopis are saying that the nectar of your words and the descriptions of your activities are the life and soul of those suffering in this material world. These narrations transmitted by learned sages eradicate one's sinful reactions and bestow good fortune upon whosoever hears them. So here we are, hearing Krishna Katha, hearing Bhīṣmadeva leaving, hearing the glories of Krishna, and we are bestowing good fortune upon ourselves. Yes, this is our great fortune. We cannot have anything else. But at the same time, we have to understand that, because I'm telling you from my personal experience, I have seen so many devotees come and then Krishna comes so close. Keshav Maharaj gives a very nice analogy. In the beginning of a class, he shows on the screen a picture of a marathon runner. Marathon is going on, right? Marathon is going on, and right at the end, someone just loses focus and then someone else wins the race. So he says our human life is just like that. We have gone through 8.399 million lives out of 8.4 million lives, and we are now in this human birth, rare human birth. We have just come 50 years after Prabhupada has left, less than 50 years, 500 years after Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has left, and just 5,000 years after Krishna has left. Just imagine our fortune. And we have come this close. Now if we do not make it, whose fault it is? It's our fault. Krishna has given us everything. Prabhupada has given us everything. Everything on the plate. First time when we picked His Holiness Kadam Kanan Maharaj, when he came out to Brisbane after a long time, we picked him up from the airport and took him to a devotee's house for prasadam. And that devotee was just staying 15 minutes away from the airport. And he said, see, now itself the movement has changed. Earlier there was so much struggle, so much struggle. Now we come down from the plane, people are greeting us with garlands in the nice car, go to the house, have nice prasadam. He said, these things were not available, but still we persisted. Why? Because Prabhupada wanted us to be instruments in saving lives of everyone, not only all these people here. So for us we have to understand, yes, this is an emergency. How can we go out, do Harinam, do book distribution, do prasadam distribution? How can I contribute? Everything will happen. Our swadharma, bodily duties, our family duties, everything will keep on going. It's not that we have to give that up. But somehow, slowly, every Ekadashi, if we contemplate and add one thing to the service, add one thing to the service, just keep on adding. Because otherwise, if we keep on if we don't keep on adding these services to our life, material life is going to just suck us up, it's consume us, definitely. But if we add just a little bit, one thing, you know, if you see devotees who are doing many things in life, you see that's what they've done. Just added gradually. At the same time, kept their sadhana fixed. You know, I know a devotee who does like many services. And then I ask them, you know, like how do you then, you know, think about Krishna when chanting? Because you'll be thinking of all the services. I have to do this, I have to speak to this person, I have to do this. Like today we have a special program after the class. And, you know, we need to make sure that the garland is there, I mean, chairs are available, you know, then place is neat and clean, you know, like that. You know, the mind goes on while chanting. And then the devotee said that the moment they see their chanting affected by these thoughts more than 2-3 days, they take a step back from the service and then focus on chanting again and then take up the service again. So these are, you know, ways to introspect and contemplate for us to understand these mysticism, these mysteries of Srīmad Bhāgavatam. Am I digressing too much or am I on the path? Please give your feedback, honest feedback. Any questions or comments? Yes, no? Okay. Too much of lecture? Okay.
Very nicely explained, you know, like while crossing the river, stream is going downwards, and we need to get to the other side of the shore, but it is impossible to get to the destination, so we have to go with the flow for some time. So that can be quite subjective, how much we go with the flow. I remember in Dwarka, when the Gomti Ganga meets the sea, and when the tide is going towards the sea, if you are in there, it will take you right through the sea and you get lost. So how do we find that balance that, okay, we go with the flow, but not to such an extent that we lose the shore on the other side and therefore the destination, just go.
Yes, so the question is, how do we find a balance between going with the flow and then making sure our eyes are on the goal, on the focus. And that's why I said that a simple thing to do is every Ekadashi we contemplate and keep adding one or other service. Small things, small additions we do. So we make sure that we are, even though going with the flow, but our eyes are still on the destination. As we know, when a pilot is, navigating a plane, they've got a range to go into, and the moment they see that on autopilot, when the plane is going out of the range, the expert pilot, they quickly bring the plane back on the range. So same way, introspection is very, very important. Whenever we start any new group, we tell them 2 words first. First 2 words are enthusiasm and participation. So we have to always be enthusiastic, and we have to participate in activities, in services, in whatever we can do in the beginning. And then later on, it's contemplation and introspection. So when we are enthusiastically participating in anything, then a stage will come when you have to introspect and contemplate. Okay, then what balance I have to come to? Sadhana, health, service, association of devotees, whatever it is there, we need to juggle those balls and do introspection on that, contemplation on that. These things are important. Because otherwise, you'll either go just one way completely or completely other way and wreck your health. Importantly, Prabhupada also wanted to make sure that our health is taken care of. Yeah. Prabhupada, does that answer your question? Yeah. we have to be very, very aware that Krishna guarantees Neha Vikarmanashu Asti Pratyavayana Vidyate, that there's no loss at all. There's no loss at all, whatever service we do. And I am a big follower of keep on adding services, keep on adding services. Here also, if you see as a center, we have just, almost like ran in the first one and a half years. So many things we're doing here. And with these festivals coming, with Janmashtami coming and all that, it's so much effort is there, but all the devotees are wonderfully, taking charge of their activities, at the same time making sure that the sadhana, the family, the health, the work, everything is taken care of. Yeah? Okay, 1922. तथापि एकांत भक्तेषु पश्य भूपानुकंपितम् यन्मे संस्थितः साक्षात् कृष्णो दर्शनमागतः तथापि still ekanta unflinching bhakteshu unto the devotees Pashya, see here, Bhupa, O King, Anukampitam, how sympathetic, Yat, for which, me, my, Asun, life, Tyajataha, ending, Saksha, directly, Krishna, the personality of Godhead, Darshanam, in my view, Agataha, has kindly come. Such a nice word this is, such a beautiful verse. Yet, despite his being equally kind to everyone, he has graciously come before me while I am ending my life, for I am his unflinching servitor. Just imagine this position, just imagine this meditation. Bhīṣmadeva is leaving and he's saying, I am his unflinching servitor. So in Srīmad Bhāgavatam, as we see, everything is not what it seems to be. In the scriptures we see normally, yes, we cannot apply our material, benchmarks. Bhīṣmadeva, even though he's fought on the other side, but here Krishna has come specifically to see him when he's leaving. Just imagine, any devotee's position, that Krishna is actually coming to see that devotee. For us, it's very fortunate many times, many devotees we see that the spiritual master, when they're leaving, the spiritual master goes and visits them. Like His Holiness Bhakti Charu Maharaj visited one of his wonderful disciples in South Africa. I don't remember his name. You remember? She was saying that, I have just basically wasted my life and just completely immersed in sense gratification. And Bhakti Charu Swami says, you don't have to be humble anymore. I am telling you, this is your last life, you are going back to Krishna. And that Mataji was, when she was leaving, on the last day, she said, I do not want anything else, just bring my deities in front of me. And we also have the experience when we were in Adelaide with His Grace Bimal Prasad Prabhu, one of Prabhupada's very dear disciples. And I told this before that we went there, he was suffering from cancer and he was about to leave. And so we went to visit him from Brisbane. And when we came there, his wife, Lalita Mataji, she said, Prabhu, he is in great pain, so just please spend as little time as possible and then, you can leave. And then we went there and then after 15-20 minutes, said, Prabhu, we are leaving. And that went for 3 hours. So 3 hours in the morning, 3 hours in the afternoon, like that for 3 days. He spoke to us for Krishna, Prabhupada, his own journey and everything. And then I was told that when he left his body, he told Lalita Mataji, please give me my Gopal, Giriraj. And he held his Gopal, Giriraj Shila close to his heart, and then he left. So this way we can see Krishna is very compassionate. Here Bhīṣmadeva is saying, yet despite his being equally kind to everyone, he has graciously come before me while I am ending my life, for I am his unflinching servitor. Now for us, time also is very relative. As we can see, before Yudhishthira Maharaj came to Bhīṣmadeva, he went to Krishna's palace in Hastinapur and told him, it's time we should go to see Bhīṣmadeva. And Krishna also said, yes, let's hurry because Bhīṣma is going to leave. But then Bhīṣma speaks for 56 days. For us, 56 days is a long time, but for Krishna and Bhīṣmadeva and Yudhishthira, it's not a long time. It's a very short time. So he says, yes, now I'm going to leave. And why is Krishna come here? Because I am his unflinching servitor. Unflinching is a word used in military. You get the orders, you follow. So we get the orders, we follow. We don't question. Purport. The Supreme Lord, the Absolute Personality of Godhead, Sri Krishna, although equal to everyone, is still more inclined to his unflinching devotee, who is completely surrendered and knows no one else as his protector and master. Having unflinching faith in the Supreme Lord as one's protector, friend and master is a natural condition of eternal life. A living entity is so made by the will of the Almighty that he is most happy when placing himself in a condition of absolute dependence. The opposite tendency is the cause of fall down. The living entity has this tendency of falling down by dint of misidentifying himself as fully independent to lord it over the material world. The root cause of all troubles is there in false egotism. One must draw towards the Lord in all circumstances. The appearance of Lord Krishna at the deathbed of Bhīṣmaji is due to his being an unflinching devotee of the Lord. Arjun had some bodily relation with Krishna because the Lord happened to be his maternal cousin. But Bhīṣma had no such bodily relation. Therefore, the cause of attraction was due to the intimate relation of the soul. Yet, because the relation of the body is very pleasing and natural, the Lord is more pleased when he is addressed as the son of Maharaj Nanda, the son of Yashoda, the lover of Radharani. This affinity by bodily relation with the Lord is another feature of reciprocating loving service with the Lord. Bhīṣmadeva is conscious of the sweetness of transcendental humor, and therefore he likes to address the Lord as Vijaya Sakhe, Partha Sakhe, etc. Exactly like Nandanandan or Yashodanandan. The best way to establish our relationship in transcendental sweetness is to approach him through his recognized devotees. One should not try to establish a relation directly. There must be a medium which is transparent and competent to lead us to the right path. So here Prabhupada is again giving us so many messages. First of all, that we have to understand that Krishna is our only protector, our only master and only friend. Surya Sarva Bhutanam. And then what happens? Gyatva Mam Shantim Richati. That when we understand that, Prabhupada used to call 529 as peace formula. Peace formula means once we realize that Krishna is our well-wisher, benefactor and our dear friend, that will bring, imagine everyone in the world, if they understand that Krishna is our well-wisher and benefactor and friend, there will be peace in the world. The first paragraph here, Prabhupada says that because Bhīṣmadeva is unflinching devotee who is completely surrendered and knows no one else as his protector and master, Avashya Rakshibe Krishna. So you have to understand that Krishna will protect us. Easier said than done. When we go through little challenge, our faith shakes. Yes. If someone tells you something, what happens? If you're doing some service together and someone says something to you, what happens? Immediately the ego comes up. Right? But when we are practicing our sadhana bhakti in the association of devotees and we become tolerant, slowly then our heart gets purified and then we can understand, yes, Krishna is putting me through these different challenges. And there are many stories. You see Bhāgavatam, it's full of devotees going through difficulties. Full of difficulties. First canto we see Parikshit Maharaj going through challenges. Bhīṣmadeva going through challenges. Kunti Maharani going through challenges. It's not easy. So we have to understand, yes, this is what the journey is for us. Prabhupada then says, the opposite tendency is the cause of fall down. The moment we think, I am the master, I am the enjoyer, I am the Lord of all that I survey, then the problem starts. This is the cause of our fall down. As Sneha Bhakti in between, she said that our independence means, what is the meaning of when we want to be independent? That we want to be dependent on the devotees. Dharma, Vipra, Achyuta, Ashrayaha. That we want to be dependent on the spiritual master. We want to be dependent on Krishna. We want to be dependent on the process of spiritual life. We want to be dependent on everything. And that will give us the real independence. Krishna is very intelligent in the 3rd chapter of Bhagavad Gita, 33rd verse. He says, you can act according to your nature. He says, everyone must act according to nature. If you refer, it's interesting. 333, he tells you, you must act according to your nature. Now everyone say, okay, yes, that's so great. If I can act according to my nature, I can do everything, it'll be great fun. But the next verse he says, but then there are regulative principles of freedom. If you want to be independent, you have to be regulated. There are regulative principles of freedom. So here we see the same thing. If we follow these regulative principles of bhakti, we are independent. And yesterday, as Bhavani Mataji pointed out, that a devotee who is walking on the path of Krishna consciousness is fearless. Then we become independent when we walk on this path. And then the last paragraph, Prabhupada says very, very nicely, many beautiful points. He says that yes, the appearance day of Krishna on the deathbed of Bhīṣmaji is due to his being an unflinching devotee of the Lord. He was an unflinching devotee. No matter externally whatever happened, but inside he knew that he is a devotee. When we have to win a war, sometimes we have to lose some battles. Bhīṣma lost some battles. When Duryodhana in the middle of the war, he said, you are not fighting to the fullest capacity because of your affection towards the Pandavas. And that was a battle for him. How can you, Duryodhana, tell me something like that? So he also vowed, okay, tomorrow either Arjun goes or Krishna breaks his promise. Yeah? But, of course, Krishna broke his promise, but then Arjun didn't go. So that way, Bhīṣmadeva lost the battle. And of course, he has lost so many battles in the process, but ultimately he's won the war. Krishna is in front of him when he is leaving on his deathbed. And then Prabhupada very nicely says that, Krishna likes to be addressed as a relative of his dear and near ones, Nanda Suta, Yashoda Nanda, like that. His Holiness Shivaram Swami has written a very nice book on the glories of Kartik month, the Damodar Janani. Damodar Janani means Yashodama, right? And he has glorified Yashodama, and as we also know that the Yashodama was the recipient of the most mercy of Lord Krishna, more than even Nanda Baba. We know the story when after Krishna has gotten the 2 trees down, and then the villagers are rushing in. Nanda Baba is coming in, and then he sees Krishna tied up, and he's very upset, very angry. He says, "Who tied my Lala?" He was ready to punish that person, but the moment he knows there is Yashoda, what does he do? He knows that Yashoda is a much better devotee than me. So if she has tied Krishna, there must be some very important purpose behind that. So then we understand that yes, Krishna likes to be associated with these devotees. And here Prabhupada says that Bhīṣmadeva is conscious of this sweetness of transcendental humor, this humor is going on between Krishna and his near and dear ones. And therefore he likes to address the Lord as Vijay Sakhe, Partha Sakhe. Vijay Sakhe means his name of Arjun, is connected with Arjun. Partha Sakhe is again connected with Arjun. Exactly like Nanda Nandana or Yashoda Nandan. The best way to establish our relationship in transcendental sweetness is to approach him through the recognized devotees like our spiritual master and Srila Prabhupada and the Guru Parampara. So this way we establish relationship with him, floating of course in the ocean of Maya, but still somehow we can keep our heads up with the process of bhakti. That be the success of our life. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Any questions or comments or any reflections?
Just one, it's just I was just thinking about it. When the Pandavas and Krishna comes to visit Bhīṣmadeva, what about the Kauravas? Whether they come, and because I'm not sure.
Yeah, wow.
I don't know about it. It's like they also come.
The Kauravas had already been killed.
Yeah.
It's after.
Yeah, this is after the war. Yudhishthir has been enthroned, he is coronated, and he's in Hastinapur, and then they come to the battlefield in Kurukshetra. And they have the skilled pandals there. It's described very, very, like in a ghastly manner, that while this was going on, the eagles and vultures were all hovering around because so many dead bodies are there. And Yudhishthira Maharaj, they were making preparations for performing all the last rites of the, all the soldiers were killed. So all the, we cannot even imagine the extent of what has happened there. So yes,
What about Dhritarashtra?
Dhritarashtra and Gandhari were here together. Yes, they were here. Because even they wanted to see, Bhīṣmadeva leaving. Yeah. Yeah. Any other questions or comments? Okay, Grantaraj Srīmad Bhāgavatam ki jai, Jagadguru Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Gaur Bhakta Vriddha ki jai. So 11 o'clock we have a special program today. His Grace Lal Govinda Prabhu is going to speak on Srila Prabhupada as Parama Guru. Something not to be missed. I always say that these devotees travel thousands of miles to give mercy to us, and we should travel 5, 10, 15 miles to get that mercy.